I think this is a pretty significant milestone that the French government have managed to achieve. Yes, what they're doing is signalling that they're prepared to take harder action in advance of the COP26 environmental summit later this year. And so some might argue this is a bit of a stunt, but it's actually pretty significant because it's saying that they're not prepared to let the airline sector grow without any caps domestically. And they're also saying that they're prepared to put more money and invest time and effort and policy decisions into growing their own rail network. And of course, the French have invested billions and billions of pounds and francs and dollars over the years and euros into the SNCF rail network to help it grow not just in France, but also internationally.
So do you think the future of travel then is in trains?
Yes, I do. And France has been investing in high-speed train travel, trains that travel at over 300 kilometers per hour for decades, since the early 1970s. And obviously that has grown elsewhere, especially in China, which has a large high-speed rail network. You're seeing other European countries do the same. And indeed in America, they're now looking at growing a smaller amount of high-speed rail. But it's had huge impacts on growing the economy in France. When you put in a high-speed train network and services, it generally grows the local economies where those trains go to. And of course, it's also expanded on things like Eurostar to London.
But when it comes to this short-haul plane scheme, we've already seen Austria bringing in something similar, and the Netherlands has been discussing one too. Do you foresee this rolling out across Europe?
I certainly see more investment in high-speed architecture, and I think you're going to see the likes of Eurostar and Thales, the Belgian operator, potentially carry on with their merger plans, which they've been talking about. Of course, what it does also signal is that the French government may end up bailing out Eurostar itself, which is desperate for money at the moment. It's had very little revenues over the last year, and it needs the British and French governments to somehow bail it out. So what France is saying here is that actually high-speed travel is the way forward by train, and therefore they're going to put more money into it.
And what would it mean for those taking connecting flights? Would it reduce the reach of carriers?
Well, I think at the moment, because you're only looking at a small number of routes affected, like Paris to Bordeaux, Paris to Nantes, for example, those sub 2.5-hour routes by train, there aren't that many routes affected. But it will hurt Air France, certainly in the short term, because it will mean that they're not going to get those connecting passengers through to those sorts of destinations. So therefore, it doesn't help places like Bordeaux connect onto the global network of air travel. It's going to be interesting to see what other countries do. I think they'll be looking at this French policy decision and saying, well, if France can do it, then maybe we can do it. And maybe you're going to see fewer domestic flights in the short term as airlines themselves have to focus on their global international networks and the costs that go with it.
Paul Charles from the PC Agency, thanks very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.